Nicholas Rossi is back in the U.S. and will stand trial in Utah. Now, if you don't know who Nicholas Rossi is, that's okay. He's been kind of flying under the radar these last several years, but he is a man from the U.S. who, back in 2020, faked his own death to try to avoid different charges regarding women who filed lawsuits against him. I'm not going to get into exactly the words that need to be said so I don't get flagged, but he definitely physically assaulted them and was going to be going to jail for a very long time. So nonetheless, he faked his death and managed to leave the country, getting to Scotland and then staying in Glasgow. He ended up giving an interview while he was over there, saying that he didn't know who Nicholas Rossi was. He isn't that person. His wife sitting next to him seemed to be appalled, and there was no way that he was even American. I mean, listen to his accent, and he would never hurt anybody. I am sure now she's looking at the entire thing, wondering how she missed all the red flags. Even then, sitting there during the interview, it was very obviously him. He hadn't changed enough that you wouldn't recognize him. He did gain quite a bit of weight, and he was wearing a face mask for oxygen, which makes me also wonder if that was really needed or if he was just trying even harder to cover his face in hopes that people wouldn't recognize him. I'm going to go ahead and play the interview of him, but if you're interested in more for this trial, I already made a playlist under his name, and I'm going to be piecing together stories that we have had for years, and then as well as the trial when it starts.
Out on bail, awaiting his next extradition hearing.
Who are you?
I am Arthur Knight, and this is my wife, Miranda Knight. And unfortunately, there are those who would claim differently.
Are you Nicholas Rossi?
No.
Are you
that is
Nicholas
completely
Alaverdian?
insane. Absolutely not.
Are you Nicholas Brown?
Yes.
When asked why he changed his name from Nicholas to Arthur, he replied because it was associated with bad childhood experiences in Northern Ireland. Miranda, who claims she married her husband in Bristol 2 years ago, says she was there when Police Scotland arrested her husband in hospital as he recovered from COVID. Arrivals to court for bail hearings were in a wheelchair. An oxygen mask remained on throughout this interview at their Glasgow home.
I nearly died. And we are terrified. How can I be a flight risk if I can't even stand?
The electric wheelchair is not a prop. There's no faking of this illness.
This is a case of mistaken identity.
You say you've never been to the United States?
Never in my life.
They claimed in court you were identified from tattoos.
That is not true. There is no evidence whatsoever that there are tattoos, and I've shown that to news reporter after news reporter.
In this interview with a US network, he did agree to roll up one sleeve.
It was up further, right? And have you had any tattoos removed?
The man wanted in America to face a rape charge is known to have multiple tattoos.
He's done quite a masterful job of hiding himself from the law.
Prosecutors in Utah say Nicholas Rossi, also known as Alaverdian, is believed to have used at least 16 different aliases.
16 aliases? No, typos.
These are very serious charges that this man faces. They claim this man faked his own death to evade those charges. Did you fake your own death?
Sharon, we're sitting having a conversation. I've never been dead to anyone.
After so many years, I know him inside out. I know my husband does not have tendencies as a rapist.
He is going to be needing a very large team on the pitch to try to say that I am a rapist, because not only are we terrified because this is a vicious lie, but we are also incredibly disgusted by the fact that we now have to live our lives in a secretive way because my wife can't even walk down the pavement to get a pint of milk. and it continues.
Some people would say you're
You
saying it
talk-
a secretive way, but you're now speaking to various media outlets, including
Absolutely.
us. Why? What is the purpose then of this interview?
The truth needs to be known.
Now, what's interesting is that everybody was able to track him down, and they had known where he was for a good amount of time, but really had to piece together all the evidence and give things factually so they legally could take the steps to get him back and start a trial for him.